Okay, so ready to dive in?
Always.
Awesome. Today we're tackling Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Ooh, good one.
For anyone listening who wants to make some positive changes,
Yeah.
this book is seriously like a superpower, right?
It is, yeah.
Tiny changes that turn into huge results.
It's that whole compounding thing.
Yeah, like compounding interest, but for your life.
I love how Clear explains that it's not like you need a massive overnight transformation.
Right.
It's those small, consistent things that build up over time.
Like imagine a pilot, right? They shift their plane's course just a tiny bit, like 3.5 degrees,
Hmm.
but they keep flying that way. Hundreds of miles later, they end up totally off course.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of the power of atomic habits. And today we're going to break down exactly how to build good ones
Love it.
and how to kick those bad ones to the curb.
Yes.
So the foundation of all this is something called the habit loop.
Ah, yes. The engine of all our habits.
Okay, habit loop. Break it down for me. What's this engine look like?
Okay, so there are 4 key parts. Cue, craving, response, and reward.
Okay.
So first, you've got the cue. It's like a trigger for your brain.
Right.
Could be anything, really. Like walking into a dark room, and that cues you to flip the light switch.
Oh, or waking up in the morning. That cue for me means it's coffee time.
Exactly. And that craving you mentioned for the coffee,
Hmm.
that's the second part.
Yeah.
It's the motivational force, the desire for that reward.
Okay.
Then comes the response. That's the actual habit itself,
Uh-huh.
brewing your coffee.
And then finally the reward.
Yes.
That feeling of satisfaction when you've got your coffee or that energy boost from the caffeine makes you want to repeat it again and again.
Makes you want to do the whole loop again.
Right.
The reward, it reinforces the whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
Makes it more likely you'll do it again when that cue pops up. But here's the really cool part. We can actually hack this habit loop to work for us, not against us.
Ooh, I love life hacks. How do we do that?
Clear outlines 4 laws for building good habits.
Okay.
Number 1, make the cue obvious.
All right.
He tells this great story about a guitarist who wanted to practice more.
Okay.
So he just left his guitar in the middle of the living room where he couldn't ignore it.
Ah,
It's all about designing your environment to trigger the behavior you want.
that's brilliant. It's like putting healthy snacks right at the front of the fridge.
Yes,
Back
exactly.
out of sight, out of mind.
Another technique he talks about is implementation intentions.
Oh, okay.
So being specific about when and where you'll do the habit.
Gotcha.
So instead of I'll exercise more, you say I'll hit the gym for 30 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m.
It's like scheduling a meeting with yourself and
Yeah.
your good habits.
Exactly.
No more excuses. Okay, what about the next law?
Make it attractive.
Make it attractive, all right. Tell me more.
So Clear has this concept called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling, okay.
And it's so clever. He gives this example of an engineering student who hacked his exercise bike.
Oh, no, wait.
Only way he could watch Netflix was if he was pedaling at a certain speed.
Oh, I love it.
Right.
That's dedication. Or maybe just a love for Netflix.
It's brilliant, though. So what if, you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast while going for a walk?
Ooh, I like that.
Or, you save that delicious treat you love for after you finish a chapter of that book you've been meaning to read.
I'm seeing the pattern here.
It's about using things you already enjoy to make the habit more appealing.
So think about it. What are some things you love to do, maybe a little too much? How could you link those to something good for you?
Great question.
Okay, what's next in our habit hacking journey?
Law number 3, make it easy.
Make it easy, okay.
There's this story in the book about a doctor who wanted to encourage healthier choices in the hospital cafeteria. So instead of lectures or posters, she just rearranged the layout,
Okay.
made bottled water more accessible than soda.
Oh, interesting.
Guess what? Water consumption went up by over 25%.
Wow, that's amazing.
And soda sales dropped. It's all about reducing friction.
Wow. So even small changes in our environment can make a big difference.
Totally.
Mm.
And speaking of making things easier, there's also the 2-minute rule. Break down those big, daunting tasks into tiny steps.
Oh, I like this one.
Right. So instead of aiming to write a whole chapter of your novel, you just focus on writing for 2 minutes.
Just start.
Yeah. Overcome that initial inertia. And often you'll find yourself just going, it's tricking your brain.
Yeah.
Get started, and the momentum takes over.
Okay, so we've made the cue obvious. We've linked it to something enjoyable. We've made it super easy to start. What's the final piece?
Make it satisfying.
Make it satisfying.
This is where it gets tricky.
Okay.
Because as Claire explains, we live in a delayed return world.
Right.
A lot of times we work hard today for rewards that come much later.
Yeah, that instant gratification thing gets us every time.
Exactly. So we have to find ways to make those long-term habits satisfying right away.
Right.
He tells this story about a couple saving for a trip to Europe.
Okay.
They opened a special savings account for the trip, and every time they cook at home instead of eating out, they rewarded themselves with a $50 deposit.
Oh, so they linked the long-term goal, the
Yes.
trip, to the immediate satisfaction of seeing their savings grow.
Exactly. It's like a little celebration each time they stuck to the plan.
I like that.
And it doesn't have to be external rewards. Sometimes the satisfaction just comes from tracking your progress.
Okay.
Like Benjamin Franklin, he tracked his adherence to 13 personal virtues in a notebook.
I can't believe even Benjamin Franklin felt the need to track his habits.
It's powerful though, right?
Yeah.
Visualization, accountability, even small wins, when you track them, can make you feel accomplished and keep you going. And speaking of accountability,
Let's talk about that, because sometimes we all need a little push to stay on track.
totally. Clear talks about the power of social contracts. He tells this story about an entrepreneur who made a habit contract with his wife and personal trainer,
Oh, wow.
with actual financial penalties if he didn't stick to his goals.
That's hardcore.
Right. But sometimes you need that. And, social support can make a huge difference.
So if you're struggling, maybe share your goals with someone who can support you.
Exactly. That external motivation can be key. Okay, before we move on to breaking bad habits, there's one more technique:
Okay, lay it on me.
habit stacking.
Oh, yeah. It's like piggybacking a new habit onto one you already have, right?
Exactly. So let's say you want to start meditating, but you never find the time. Try meditating for 5 minutes right after you brush your teeth each morning.
You're using something you already do to make the new habit effortless.
Exactly. Linking the new habit to an existing cue makes it so much easier.
This is so cool. We've gone from the habit loop to hacking it to build good habits. But what about breaking bad ones? Stay tuned, because in part 2, we're diving into strategies for breaking those bad habits.
Okay, so breaking bad habits is
Yeah.
a whole other challenge.
It is.
But the good news is we can use that same habit loop framework,
Okay.
but in reverse.
Okay. So the 4 laws we talked about,
Yeah,
we basically flip them.
we flip them.
So like, instead of making the cue obvious,
Nah,
we want to make it invisible.
invisible, exactly.
So if I'm trying to cut back on social media, maybe I should bury those apps in some folder on my phone.
Exactly. Out of sight, out of mind. Make those tempting cues harder to encounter.
I like that.
Like log out of accounts, disable notifications. You can even just put your phone in another room sometimes.
Ooh, that's a good one. Less temptation, less chance of engaging in the habit.
Exactly.
So what about the second law? We want to make good habits attractive.
Yeah.
I'm guessing for bad habits.
We want to make them unattractive.
We make them unattractive.
We make them unattractive, yeah.
Okay.
One of the best ways to do this is through reframing.
Reframing. Okay.
So instead of thinking about that immediate pleasure the bad habit gives you,
Right.
focus on the negative consequences.
So instead of thinking, ooh, delicious donut, I think this donut will make me feel sluggish and mess up my healthy eating.
Yeah, it kind of takes the fun out of it,
Yeah, kind of a buzzkill.
but it works.
But it works. Makes those negative consequences more real.
Yeah, you can even write them down or create little visual reminders.
Ooh, good idea. So make it unattractive. What else?
Think about your social circles, too.
Oh, interesting.
Surround yourself with people who support your goals, right?
Yeah.
And discourage those bad habits.
Okay.
Like if you're trying to quit smoking,
Yeah.
hanging out with non-smokers makes it a lot easier.
Support system is so important. Okay, so we've made the cue invisible, reframed the bad habit to make it less appealing.
Huh.
What's next?
Make it difficult.
Make it difficult, all right?
Remember how we talked about reducing friction for good habits?
Yeah.
Well, for bad habits, we increase it.
Okay, so if I'm a late night snacker, I should put those chips way back in the cupboard. Or better yet, not even buy them in the first place.
Or not even buy them, yeah.
Make it an obstacle course to get to the temptation.
It's all about making it harder to do the thing you don't want to do.
So smart. Okay, and in the final piece,
Make it unsatisfying.
make it unsatisfying. All right.
Again, immediate feedback is key. And accountability partners can really help here.
Oh, right. Remind me how that works again.
Okay, imagine you make a deal with a friend.
Okay.
Every time you slick up, you have to pay the money.
Okay.
Or you have to do some embarrassing chore.
Oh, no.
Right.
Okay.
Suddenly, that bad habit is a lot less appealing when there's a consequence.
It's like you're putting a price on your willpower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Adding that discomfort, to counteract that instant gratification.
Okay, so what happens if you do slip up? I mean, we're all human.
That's true.
It happens.
It does happen.
Yeah.
Claire really emphasizes self-compassion here.
Okay.
Don't beat yourself up.
Right.
Just get back on track as quickly as possible. View it as a learning experience.
So it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about progress.
It's about persistence.
Persistence. Okay, I like that.
And this brings us to one of the most interesting ideas in the book, I think.
Okay, what's that?
Identity-based habits.
Identity-based habits, all right. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Clear's point is that our habits actually reflect our identity.
Oh, interesting.
So if you see yourself as a healthy person,
Yeah.
you're more likely to have those healthy habits.
Right.
But if you see yourself as a procrastinator,
You're more likely to procrastinate.
exactly, it's not just changing behaviors.
It's changing how we see ourselves.
It's changing your beliefs about yourself.
Wow, okay.
Your habits are like a vote for the type of person you want to be.
Oh, I like that.
Every time you choose that healthy meal or go for that run,
Yeah?
you're voting for that identity of a healthy person.
It's like we're building our self-image brick by brick with every habit.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And as you start to see yourself that way, it becomes easier to keep going.
This is amazing. We've learned how to build good habits, break bad ones, even how to cultivate an identity that supports those habits. But before we let you go and revolutionize your life, we have one final thought-provoking question.
All right, shoot.
So, think about everything we've talked about today.
Okay.
The habit loop, those 4 laws, the power of identity.
Mm-hmm.
What's one tiny change, one small habit that you could start, like, today, that would move you closer to the person you want to be?
It really puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not about some big dramatic overhaul.
Right.
It's those small, consistent things.
Yeah.
This whole deep dive has been awesome.
It has.
We've unpacked so much from Atomic Habits. It's like a blueprint for a better life.
It really is. One habit at a time.
And what's so cool is that it's all within our control.
It is.
Yeah.
We're not stuck.
Yeah, we can choose to change.
They can choose to change, yeah.
Yeah.
Bit by bit,
It's like we're not just living our lives, we're actively shaping them.
we are.
So as everyone listening goes out there to put all this into practice,
Yes.
what's one key takeaway you want them to remember?
Focus on progress, not perfection.
Ooh, I like that.
Don't get discouraged if you slip up.
Yeah.
Just get back on track.
Oh.
Keep moving forward. It's those small wins, right? Those atomic habits.
Yeah.
That compound over time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
And those tiny course corrections, they can lead us to a whole different place.
They can.
So cool.
So keep diving deep,
Yeah.
Keep exploring these ideas. You'll be amazed by what you could do.
This has been such an insightful deep dive into Atomic Habits.
It has.
We hope you've enjoyed it.
We hope so.
And remember, even the smallest change can transform your life.
If you're consistent.
So go out there, start building the life you want, one atomic habit at a time.
One at a time.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.